Hello everyone. Welcome to today's artist talk. We're just gonna wait for my lovely guests to tune in. And hopefully my cats won't disrupt my flow. First time doing an artist talk with cats. Let's see how this goes. Oh my gosh. Yep. Yep. Just okay. I see you, Maria. Let me try to oh my gosh. Hi, Uli. I see you. Hi, Kiki. Hi, Maria.
Hello.
Can
How's
you
it
hear me?
going? I can. It's a little bit delayed, but I can hear you.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I think it's a little bit earlier for you right now,
Um,
right?
a little bit, yeah, but the light from my window is like covering the bags in my eyes.
That's
So
good.
I'm like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Hi, Kiki, I see you. And then I'm trying to make sure the cats don't mess up with my chargers. So
Okay. I
hopefully,
might run and get my headphones just so I
yeah,
can listen a little bit better.
go for it. Kiki, it's so cold out. I'm pretty sure you're watching right now. It's hella cold. Hi, Uli. And I think I saw Karina too. Hi, Melissa. Hello. Nobody told me it was gonna be this cold.
Okay. Let me get this set up.
Perfect.
Okay. Ready.
Better? Cool.
Hi, Andrew.
Nice. All right. We already have a bunch of viewers. It's so early in the morning. They're dedicated.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning. Alrighty. Since we have so many viewers already, um, we can get started. So thank you everybody for joining this week's Artist Talk. Today my guest is my wonderful friend, Miss Maria Fernanda Razo, who is residing in Mexico. And we're just gonna get started right away. So where are you from, Maria?
Okay, so I am from Mexico. I was born in Mexico City, but I only really spent like maybe 2 or 3 days there. I was only born there, and then I grew up in Querétaro, which is where I currently am at, up to the age of 5, and then I was moving around almost every year to different countries. I spent some time in Costa Rica, in Guatemala, some time in Miami, Florida, back in Mexico City for a little bit, and then finally, when I was 9, I came back to Querétaro. So I was raised a little all over the place.
Yeah, I love that though, and we can get a little bit more into that later. So, what inspired you to create art?
Basically, my love for nature is what inspired me from a very young age. My dad taught me how to speak with an encyclopedia of wildlife, and that ever since then, I've just been always really obsessed with animals and plants, and all of the places that we lived in had such rich biodiversity, and my parents really loved to do some weekend travels.
Mm-hmm.
We went hiking. We still do go hiking a lot. So I started making art as a way to kind of understand and get to know a little bit more of the natural world that was around me. So because I'm more of a visual learner and that's how I understand the world, art was a way for me to bring all those experiences in and like get to know the world around me a little bit better.
Yeah, thank you for answering that question. I love that you guys still go hiking even now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when you decided to pursue art as a career, did you receive support from your family and friends?
Yeah, so my parents have always been very supportive about me being creative. Whenever I was younger, they had me go to different art lessons and stuff. And then when it came to going to college for art, at first, well, I didn't actually go to college for art at first, but when I ended up um, in art, they were a little bit worried about the whole money making part, which is pretty normal. But through it all, they've always been pretty supportive and they have my back.
Yeah, awesome. And so we're gonna get in a little bit into your education wise. So what schools did you attend? And then after you talk about what schools you went to, um, talk a little bit more about your experiences, your opportunities that you had while you were in school.
Okay, sure, yeah. So, like I said, I grew up with art lessons pretty much everywhere that we lived. I was doing either some drawing or painting, not in any specific academy or stuff, just like with some private tutors. Actually, the first art lesson that I received was from an English tutor when I was really little and I was learning how to speak English. Um, I had a really hard time focusing, and she was getting really tired of that. So she had me sit down, and she brought out a book that was about the jungle,
Mm-hmm.
and she had me start drawing the animals and stuff. A butterfly is what I remember. So that was the first time that I was like receiving some sort of lesson in art making, and which is how I connected like a lot of I do. College, I was thinking more of taking the opportunity of learning other things that weren't art related. So I actually started, it was like a combined major, and I was in literature and sociology. But I wanted to take art classes because I couldn't stay away from art.
Yeah.
And I wasn't allowed to because of how the school was structured. I had to be an art major. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna switch over to graphic design because that's like what you typically think of as something that's art related and you can make money a little bit more easily. So I switched to graphic design, but I didn't like it at all. It was not my style. And then during one of my introduction drawing classes, one of the TAs um, told me I should look into printmaking, that I would really like it. And so I visited the studio, I talked to some of the students, and I saw some of the work,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, this is the place for me. So I fell in love with printmaking. So I got my BFA in studio art with a focus on printmaking, and I was at the University of North Texas over in Denton, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was able to go there because they have this thing called the Mexican waiver. So if you are a Mexican citizen, you pay in-state tuition, so it was a little bit more affordable
Mm-hmm.
as an international student, which was really amazing. Um, and while I was at UNT, I got to be part of the printmaking club, which was called PANTS, Printmaking Association of North Texas Students.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a really cool experience because we did a lot of stuff to raise money to go to events. So we printed shirts, we did cards and stickers and a bunch of stuff for Halloween and Valentine's Day and Christmas and all that stuff. And we got to travel. We went to SGCI, we went to Print Austin, we went to It Came from the Bayou, we went to Frogman's Print Workshops, which was really cool because it's kind of like a summer camp for printmakers, which was really fun. And just in general, we got to meet a bunch of practicing printmakers, which was really amazing. And in school, we also had visiting artists. One of my favorites was Kiki Smith, which is a pretty big inspiration for me. So it was really great to see her talk, and we got to see a little bit of the process of her process and some of her work. And yeah, so we had a lot of really great opportunities at school, which I'm really thankful for.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing. I think last time we talked, I was reminiscing and I was like, oh, I miss the printmaking studio and just
Yeah.
fun stuff and the visiting artists. And thank you for talking about how you got into the University of Texas and the opportunity it gave to people abroad. I actually didn't know about that, so that's pretty cool. Um
Yeah.
yeah, and so what did you feel that school prepared for?
So I think school was really amazing in like expanding my knowledge of art and its historical context. Definitely, I learned a lot about printmaking. I did not know about printmaking before going to school. It was really great for my work. It let me expand what I thought was important with my work and to create a different and more structured work ethic and to think about it a little bit more conceptually and to give it a little bit more meaning, which I think was really, really great. And definitely all the technical aspects. I really, really loved all my drawing classes. I really love drawing. It was like the first thing that I did whenever I started making art. Um, and then all those like technical exercises, which I think some people find a little frustrating at first. I also found them frustrating at first.
Yeah.
They really do give you a lot of tools for later on whenever you are creating your own work, and it's really great to know like the basics, so then you can like bend them however you want to do it.
Yeah. Awesome. And so what did you feel that school did not prepare you for?
So personally, I feel that I didn't get, so I didn't feel that I was prepared to be a professional working artist.
Hmm.
Like things like how to charge for your work, how to work with galleries, um, how to manage your finances as a
Yeah.
creative. Those are things that I think I would have really loved to have a little bit more of a structure taught in school. We had some professors that kind of touched on some stuff. I remember we had a really great design teacher. I can't remember his name right now, but he gave us like this whole presentation and some documents that were all related to that kind of like professional practicing artist life. But at the time I was a freshman, so I was like, I'll think about this later. I'm gonna just go have fun with my friends and stuff.
Yeah.
So I wish I would have paid a little bit more attention then. But but in general, I feel like there could be a little bit more of that kind of instruction on how to be a professional working artist, because I feel like a lot of people think that or a lot of people's end goal is to teach art, which is amazing, but I personally am not looking for that. I'm looking to like make work and sell work and
Mhm.
live off of that. So yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I also think that's really important. And even though, like you said, there are some professors that bring light into that. It's not like, how do I say it? It's not like, I don't want to say engraved, but it's not like emphasized. It's kind of like
Yeah.
you're gonna figure it out on your own kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so now you get to talk about your art, so you can share any new art project or any piece of work that you'd like, and then yeah, and then I remember you said that you wanted to show us around your studio, so I'm really excited about that because I saw it.
Yeah.
But yeah, um, go for it.
Cool. Well, so like I said, I did a lot of printmaking in school, and I had a body of work that I was really proud of that was mostly dealing with being outside of Mexico and seeing my culture from an outsider perspective, um, and all of its richness, and not only culturally but also of its wildlife and natural areas. And that was kind of like the last uh, body of work that I did in regards to that printmaking, like formal body of work. when I came back to Mexico. I was living in Chicago for a little bit. I came back about 3 years ago, and it was a little bit of a harsh transition because it was a little unexpected.
Yeah.
So it was hard to continue making work, and I don't currently have access to a full printmaking studio. So that's I've still been making stuff here and there, but it is a little bit on pause when it comes to formal work. I have a lot of plans though that I do want to start working on starting next year. I have found a couple of spaces that have offered me the opportunity to work some of my ideas. So I hope next year I can produce a little bit more work. But currently my main focus is I have a shop called Mano de Oro, in which I make illustrations inspired by native flora and fauna, and I do stuff like t-shirts and tote bags and stickers and all that kind of stuff. And I also do tattooing. I started tattooing last year, which has been really amazing. I started with the hand poke method almost by accident. But it's turned into another whole thing that I'm exploring. And actually, if you go to my feed right now, the last post I did was on tattoos I've recently done. So if you want to check that out, you can. And yeah, so Mano de Oro, the idea for it has been around for about 6 years for me, but I have formalized it, I guess, during the past few months because of the pandemic. I was like, I don't know what to do. I couldn't tattoo for a while. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start selling my stuff online. And so I've jumped into the whole world of being a business owner and an entrepreneur, and it's been really crazy and really fun. And I can give you a little tour. I am at my studio right now, and okay, I'm gonna turn the camera around.
I'm so excited.
Okay, I hope you can see because of the light. So this is my little shop corner, and as you can see, all of the stuff I do is based on animals and plants. All of the animals and plants that I use, I research beforehand, and I make sure that they're native or local to Mexico, which is really fun also as an opportunity to learn more about the flora and fauna in my country. Got some stuff here, some postcards, and this is my t-shirt rack. And then, oh, here's one of the things that I've done recently. It's a
I love it.
Scale painting. Here I have my handy dandy portable press. We came up with this idea, my boyfriend and I, and we use it when we go to events and markets, and we like show people about printmaking and about how cool it is, and we do little prints like these. And over here I have a tiny screen printing setup where I print shirts. So we have this cool thing where you can bring your own shirt from your closet, and we will print it right here, and that way you can reduce textile waste and bring new life to your clothes.
So awesome.
And then, so here is my work area. It's a little bare right now, but I'll be getting some more work up at the walls. And over here is the little tattoo studio. It's really cool. And here are some of the designs that I've been working on for this year. And as you can see, it's also all nature, also all local flora and fauna. And these are all the ones that I've done this year.
Wow.
Which is really, I'm really thankful that I've been able to do it regardless of everything that's been going on. So yeah, that's a little tour of my current studio.
Yay, thank you for sharing. I love it. It's so, I think I told you last time, it's so organized, but I don't think I saw the bird mural that you just showed. It's so pretty.
Oh, thank you.
I love it. And it's so organized. Again, so organized. Yeah, so thank you for that. And if you want to share a little bit about your process in making the designs for the t-shirts for screen printing, that would
Yeah.
be awesome. We're doing really good on time. And before you do that, I was gonna say I found your shirt.
Yay! Awesome.
I
So
love
happy.
it's so pretty and it's so warm. It's what I love.
Yeah, and that was also so something I forgot to mention about Mano de Oro is I'm trying to make it focused on conscious or sustainable fashion, and a way in which I'm doing that to make it a little bit more accessible to everybody, because sometimes sustainable fashion can be a little bit expensive.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of upcycling or reworking secondhand clothing, because there's a bunch of stuff that people just don't want in their closets anymore. And instead of throwing it out, you could bring it over here and I can do anything from screen printing on it if it's just like ready to go and in a good state, or I could rework it. We have cut up and put together back stuff, and that's a really cool way in which we are trying to make a little bit more affordable and sustainable clothing. So that t-shirt that you have is actually secondhand, but
Yeah.
it still has a lot of life to give. So I'm really happy that you got it.
I love it. And thank you for bringing more awareness to sustainability, because I think as artists, if we like kind of show an example, like, oh, we can be sustainable and we can do all this stuff, it kind of like, you know, it's like the ripple effect. We can like educate others and show them that it's possible and it's affordable. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and I think especially because I'm so interested in nature and the environment, and it's a big influence in my work, it, it wouldn't make sense if I wasn't making sure to make my processes as sustainable as possible, because a lot of art making supplies are not really so great for the environment, and but as we are starting to realize that, and as we are starting to come up with new ways of creating art that's not harmful, I think it's really great for artists to start like asking that of their products, and like from what they consume and what they use. So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can show you a little bit of the process of what goes behind making a shirt design. So right now I'm wearing one of our newest designs.
Awesome.
It is, we call it cacomixle here in Mexico. I think you guys call it a ringtail cat. It's not really a cat. It's related to raccoons, but it's a really cute creature. And the designs that I do, I always try to pick animals and plants that are something that we see around us, that we are able to get to know better. So these guys are really common in urban areas. You see them a lot here at night. Some people are afraid of them and sometimes they harm them. So I think it's important to also get some information out about how they're like completely harmless, and they're like really essential for the ecosystem that they are living in. And we are actually encroaching in their territory, so we just have to respect them and let them be. But anyways, so I start with a drawing, which I'm going to show you here over at my sketchbook.
So cool.
So I start with this illustration, just on paper, and then I put this in Photoshop and decide what colors I want to use, and depending on the type of shirt that I'm going to use, I play around with the different colors, and I come up with all the different layers. In this case, this one has 4 different colors, and then we have a screen in which we burn the design. Right now, I have it set up right here. I think you can kind of see it. I was printing some shirts yesterday. So we burn the screen, and then we prep everything for printing. We do like the big printing jobs over at my partner's screen printing studio, and I do like smaller stuff here. But let's say that the process takes anywhere from a couple of weeks to a month total, from start of the drawing process to cleaning the screens and burning the image and printing the whole thing. So it's a little bit of an intensive process, especially because I mostly do it on my own. But it's really fun and I really love it. And it's what I've been doing mostly lately.
Awesome. Thank you, Maria. And then I don't know if you wanted to do it. Oh, up to you if you have it set up, but if not, it's totally fine. It's okay.
I just don't know how to set up the camera.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
But I do have I did a little reel yesterday of the process.
Oh, that's right.
So if you go to my Mano de Oro Instagram, you can see it. It's my latest post, and you can see the whole process of printing it.
That's right. Thank you. And then I'll also post it on my story so people can see it. But thank you for that. Oh my gosh, I love hearing about all your projects. And you have answered most of the following questions that I was going to ask you anyway. So again, thank you for that. A little bit easier. So we're almost done, and then for the viewers, for those who haven't seen any before, so I'm almost done with my questions, and then afterwards I'll leave it open for audience. If anybody has any questions for Maria, you're more than welcome to answer in the comments. But yeah, I have a few more, and then we'll take answers from the audience. So how do you feel being a female artist? And we talked a little bit about it when we were prepping for this, and this is if you've ever felt like you weren't supported as a female artist or respected or harassed. And you know, again, it's only if you're comfortable speaking about it. And I know there were some other points that we brought up when we last spoke, so if you don't bring them up, I'll just be like, also bring up this.
Okay.
But go for it.
Sure. So it's I feel like the term the term female is not like entirely representative of how I feel. I feel it's a little bit more complex than that. I do identify, it's hard to say. But speaking as somebody who is female presenting and mostly treated as such, I personally, thankfully, have never had any terrible experiences. I do feel that in part it's because the work that I do is not necessarily, so it fits in with the idea of what a feminine or female artist would do. So I think that's part of it. But what I do feel is, especially right now in my country, it's really enraging because women and female presenting people are being murdered every day, like at a really alarming rate, and it's only increased during the pandemic, and it's gotten to a point where it's really, really serious, and our government is not really taking action to prevent these situations. Instead, it's so the feminist movement here has taken a lot of strength recently because of all of these terrible situations, and it's been really amazing to see women get together and go out and protest for rights and for just being able to walk out on the street and not being murdered. But like recently, I think it was a few days ago, three girls were murdered in the state of Quintana Roo within 48 hours, which is like completely crazy. And a group of women went out on the streets to protest and to demand justice for these girls. And the police responded by shooting at the protesters, which is really, really terrible. And like here in Querétaro recently, we had a protest where they graffitied some historical monuments, and the state, instead of looking into why these women are rising up and demanding justice, has actually passed a law in which they are able to prosecute them because of these actions. So they're focusing on like punishing women for speaking up instead of punishing the people that are harming them, which is really terrible. So yeah, at the current state of affairs, that's how I feel about that whole situation.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's a big, heavy subject, and thank you so much for bringing it up because I feel like I explained to you before, there's not a lot of media coverage about this type of stuff, and if I ever hear about stuff that goes on in Mexico, it's either through your Instagram feed or through. Sorry, my mom's talking. Okay. 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 Bye.
Hi.
um, but yeah, sorry. And then I feel like it's not really, brought to light, especially here in America. And I think it should be represented more about, the reality of what goes on in Mexico. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing about that. And then I think I remember I wanted you to bring up about you said, I think last time you said that you don't get a lot of like flack because your art is seen as pretty, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so like I was saying, I think because the type of work I do is seen as pretty, or more aesthetic or easier to digest, I guess, there isn't a lot of confrontation because I guess it falls into what is expected of a female artist to produce. So sometimes that does feel a little limiting. I feel like if I started doing anything that was a little bit darker or anything that would be different from what I typically do, I would probably start getting some comments or
Yeah.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that really sucks, especially being a, like we said, like just being a female artist, we don't get, I mean, just kind of like how you said, we get flagged or we'll get like about it. But thank you so much for your response and shedding light into the political aspect in Mexico and the reality about what's going on with females there. So thank you for that. And then I'm almost done asking questions. So how my following one is, how are you taking care of yourself physically and emotionally during this time?
So it's definitely been a struggle. I think everybody could say that. Definitely a very hard year. I have survived in a large part thanks to my family and my partner. They have been literally keeping me alive, making sure I eat and get some rest and all the good stuff. So yeah, my support circle is pretty much how I'm getting through this. And
Yeah.
just like mm, the need of creating has kept me busy and kind of focused on making work and illustrations and stuff for the shop. So that's a little bit of a distraction from all the terrible stuff that goes around in the world. And but I do have to get better at it. I know I have to do a little bit better. I think it's important to start getting back to some of the things that I know that used to work for me. So I really would love to get back to journaling, which was a really great, and also some form of exercise. My gym closed down because of COVID, so that was like, I need to move my body. So figuring out ways to do that at home, and yeah, it's a constant work in progress.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your honesty instead of being like, oh, I'm doing great. Thank you for it's been hard. It's been hard.
Yeah, it's been hard.
Yeah. And so my last question for you, and then we'll open it up for audience. And if not, I have many more questions for you. Do you have any advice you would like to give artists?
Yeah. So I think some of the things that I've learned over the last few years is, first of all, college or a master's degree or a specific workshop or whatever, or a professional career in art is not for everybody.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to college to be an artist. You don't need to get a master's degree. Like, only do it if it works for you and if it is what you want. I think sometimes there's a little bit of pressure to get that degree and stuff like that. I definitely think it was necessary for myself. I think it was really helpful for me. But I know of people who just definitely don't need it and can learn about art making in other ways, and I think that's really great. Um, Another big thing is to get your inspiration offline. um,
Thank you.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I see a lot of younger artists that do really great work, but it's all really similar because they're all looking at the same stuff on Instagram or Pinterest
Yeah.
or stuff like that. So I think it's really important to branch out and keep consuming culture and inspiration from other places, not necessarily art museums. For me, a big inspiration is going hiking, for example, or science museums, or music or plays or movies. So get your inspiration from diverse sources.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a bad thing to look at Pinterest or Instagram, but make that like your last resort. Try to get your inspiration from more diverse sources. And I think, speaking to the last question, I think it's really important to have a really good support group of people that are going to be encouraging you, because at least personally for me, I have a lot of days where I'm like, everything I do is terrible. I don't want to be an artist anymore. And I think it's normal for
Mm-hmm.
people who are in the creative field. And it's really great to have those friends or family that could be like, hey, remember all that great stuff you did, and you can do it, and it's going to be okay, and let's get distracted doing something else and then come back to your work and stuff. So I think that's really important advice, to be surrounded by positive and encouraging people. And finally, I don't think we talked about this last time, but I was just remembering something that's been really helpful for me is to document my process.
Oh,
So almost everything I do, I document it either on a notebook, or I have like a weird, complicated system on Trello, which is like a website that I use to like organize ideas and stuff.
mm-hmm.
And I take a lot of pictures almost of every state of whatever I'm doing, and I have it all organized in my computer. And yeah, I think it's really important to document your work because it'll let you realize how much you've grown, what areas you can improve in, what works for you and what didn't. So I think that would be the advice I have.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Maria. Yeah. Thank you for that last one. I really think that's a good idea. I was really bad at documenting stuff, but getting better at it. But thank you so much for everything that you spoke about today. I really hope people get to take away, as much as I do whenever I hear you talk about anything in general, not just art. So thank you so much, and um,
Thank you.
now we'll leave it open to the audience so anybody can ask any questions, and I think they can either write it on the comments or there's that little question bubble. So
Okay.
yeah, so we'll just wait and see if anybody has any questions. If not, I wrote more. While
Okay.
I talk so much, there's so much good stuff. So let's give it a minute. And how's the weather in Mexico right now?
Oh, it's crazy. Well, at least in Querétaro, we're a little bit more, well, we're pretty much literally in the center of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's like all sunny and warm, but last week it was freezing, and yeah, so it's just crazy.
Nice. All right, no questions yet. Anybody can ask any questions. I don't know if you know any of the people who are watching, but you know,
I see Elizabeth, and I think Andrew was there, and I think my boyfriend was in there too.
can you see who's watching it? Because I see. My friend Karina, mustard beetle, electric nachos, and
Oh, there it is.
oh, there.
There's a question.
Has it been hard transitioning from the States back to Mexico? Are you happy to be back? Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, it was very hard, especially because I wasn't expecting to come back at least as soon as I had to.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a lot of stuff that I really love about Mexico, and I'm really grateful to be here. But there are certain things about life in the US that made it a little bit easier to just exist as a person. I think uh, I think mostly it was that I had like this whole path that I thought ahead of me over there, and I had like I was going to a printmaking related club.
Hmm.
We had meetings, and I had my friends there. And when I came back, I didn't really I knew people from my childhood, but I didn't really know anybody in the art world anymore. Um, and like I said, I didn't have access to a studio as easily or art making spaces, specifically in my hometown, because it's, even though it is a larger city, it's still not as developed in that area in like the arts and culture as, for example, Mexico City. So it was definitely hard, but I am happy to be back. It took me almost the 3 years to like kind of feel like I'm settled in. But I think what I love the most about being back is being able to experience all of the culture and the food and nature. And I was also very welcomed by local art people that opened up a bunch of opportunities for me. So yeah, it was hard, but I think it was very worth it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I was gonna say that that's kind of how I felt when I had to move away from Hawaii and then back home. It was like really abrupt. And like yeah,
Yeah.
like when I moved back home, I knew people from when I was younger, but it's like not necessarily artists, and it took a while to
Hmm.
just kind of get adjusted. So, I was gonna ask if you, I mean, it kind of sounds like it, but did you also get reverse culture shock?
Yeah, yeah. It's a like you get used to. So I did come back whenever I was living in the U.S. I did come back to Mexico a few times a year. Some years, not every year. So that kind of helped. But yeah, coming back, and like a big thing was that here in Mexico, everybody's very warm and like there's a lot of physical contact when
Yeah.
you are interacting with people. And I wasn't used to that anymore. And I kind of grew comfortable with not having as much physical contact with
Yeah.
people. So it was like, oh, I have to kiss everybody on the cheek now and like hugs for everybody and stuff, which is like fine. I don't mind it. It was just like, oh yeah, and like yeah, certain um ideas and yeah, it's definitely a thing.
Definitely. Yeah, hopefully somebody else asks more questions. I do have one while we wait for somebody else to answer questions because we have a lot of time for questions, by the way. So
Okay.
anybody can just spit out any questions. But my question to you was, how come you moved so much as a child? I don't know if that's a personal question, but
No, no, not at all. So my dad used to work for the bottling company that bottled everything for Coca-Cola.
oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's why they moved him around every year. And he was like overseeing new stuff in Central America, so that's why we were over there for a little while. Um, and it had a big role in me learning English, for example. I was put into American schools ever since I was 5. I learned English from a really young age because of all of that. It was easier. I mean, they spoke Spanish in all the countries that I went to, but my parents still wanted me to learn English and be able to um, I forgot the word in English, desarrollarme
Mm-hmm.
in other countries.
Sorry, I'm trying to think. The word not my brain's still not fully awake. What's there's that? Yeah,
Just to make it easier for, because it's, yeah.
yeah. Just like I guess adjusting or like
Yeah,
transition better. I don't.
yeah, exactly. Transitioning. It's not the exact word, but it works.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I know what you mean, but I was like, wait, some people might not know what that means. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, no questions yet. Um, so thank you, Karina. Develop. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you for
Thank
that.
you.
So I was gonna ask if you could show, because I remember you did a project, I think 2 years ago now, about you would paint silhouettes of the animals from each.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool if you could show us. I really like that.
Let's see. I have a few over here. So that was something I did while I was living in Chicago,
Mhm.
and it was like a little exercise, like painting exercise, but also an opportunity to learn more about all the different states in Mexico. So it's a little series. They're packaged, so I hope the
Yeah, you could.
glare doesn't work.
Oh, that's.
Yeah. So they're silhouettes, and they're all each from a different state.
Mhm.
This one is from Jalisco, and they have an animal that is found in that area. Most of the animals I picked were endangered, um, and the landscape that you can see is a protected natural area found in that state.
Oh.
So this one is vulture, a king vulture, and it's in Barrancas de Huentitlan,
Mhm.
which is an area in Jalisco. And yeah, I did a bunch of them. Here's a monarch butterfly from Michoacan.
Oh wow, that's so nice.
Um, Here is Morelos
Mhm.
fish.
Oh,
Oh, I think we have another
yeah.
question.
Thank you, Mr. Beetle. Wood press.
Okay, it says it seems like your studio is growing with the little wooden press and the screen printing press. What other tools or facilities would you like to have, and what are your future artistic or career goals?
Ooh.
Okay, cool. So I am really happy with how my studio is going.
Mhm.
I would really love to have a bigger printmaking press so I could go back to making larger scale work.
Mhm.
I really love to work with intaglio and relief, and ideally lithography, but that's a little bit harder to get all the stuff set up for. So I would love to go back into having like a full printmaking studio. And we already have, well, my boyfriend has a full screen printing studio over in a different location. But it would be really great for me to have a little bit more screen printing stuff at the studio here too. Um, I would really love to, one of my really biggest dreams is to have a mobile studio because I think travel is a big part of what inspires me, and I would love to be able to have like stuff like the miniature press and like a tiny screen printing setup to take around on trips and to do like little, like I said, we like to go to events and like show people how printmaking works and how all these processes work, and to link it to the places that we go to. So I would love to be like, okay, so this year we're going to this state and this state, and we're going to talk about the flora and fauna in that area, and do little demos on the press and the screen printing setup. And yeah, that would be an amazing thing. I'm hoping it can come true soon. But yeah, those are some of the stuff that some of the goals that I have. Um, yeah, keep expanding this little studio that I have. I think it's gotten a little bit crowded really fast, and I think that's really amazing. And I'm happy to keep growing.
Yeah, and I think what you said about having a mobile print studio. That's like every printmaker's dream. Like
Yeah.
for every printmaker's had that dream in their head because I've definitely had it. I was like, it would just be so cool just to have one in your backpack and then like, have it magically
Yeah.
thing. And then I was gonna say for the litho, I have a few friends who actually make lithographs at home possible. I don't know how, but they just make it work. And so maybe afterwards I can connect you to people.
Yeah.
I
I
have
mean,
it, but they do it.
I know. I mean, there's other ways of doing lithography other than with the stone.
Yeah.
Um, and I think you could also do lithography without a stone and also on a regular press, if I'm correct.
Mhm.
But I love stone litho. Like,
Yeah,
I really, really love stone litho.
I know.
Um,
I do too.
and also here in Mexico, we don't use Bavarian limestone as much. We have marble
Hmm.
because it's naturally occurring here,
Hmm.
and I want to learn how to do litho on marble stones because I haven't really tried it. But like I was saying earlier, there is a former teacher from a local university who has a studio in a nearby city,
Hmm.
and she's offered up this space for me to go do some litho next year. So I'm really hoping that that can happen.
Oh wow. And I was gonna say, have you seen one that has the marble? Does it have a different texture?
Yeah, it has a different texture. So I actually did some teaching at the local university for a few months last year. I was a substitute teacher, and I was substituting for one of the litho classes.
Hmm.
So I drew on the stone, but we had some trouble etching the stone, and in the end we didn't get to print it. We instead did, what did we use? I was only there for a few months, so I don't think I was even able to make it all the way to where the students were able to print. Um, but I did draw on the marble stone, and it's definitely a different texture. It has a little bit more grain to it, or at
Okay.
least the one that I was working with. Um, I used my litho pencils that I was using with the regular limestone. So I think if I switched out the tools a little bit, I could make it work for how I like to use it.
Oh wow. Cool. I
Mhm.
had no idea. This is such a brand new thing for me.
Yeah.
I want to tell my friends if they know about this. I'm pretty sure if they didn't, they'll be like, my.
There is a place called La Ceiba Gráfica. Let me double check where it is.
Yeah.
Here in Mexico that specializes in marble lithography.
Hmm.
Da, 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 da. I think it's in Veracruz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and actually they do residencies, and I'm really looking to get a residency there next year.
Hmm.
And what's really amazing about this place, I've been looking into it a little bit, is that everything that they use is sourced from nearby. So the marble is sourced from nearby. The ink that they use is made from like animal fats that they are like animals from the area and like pigments from the area. Then the paper that they use, cotton paper, they make it from the discarded towels from local hotels.
Oh my gosh. It's all
Yeah,
edible. That's
and
awesome.
then their presses are wooden handcrafted presses, which are really beautiful. And it's this like an old estate that's really beautiful, and like the architecture is amazing. So I would also like the place that they're in is like surrounded by nature. So I would really love to go there and experiment more with litho.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that. I'm actually gonna
Yeah.
probably look into that. If you have more info, just send it to me. That actually
Yeah.
sounds.
Oh, and it's open for international applicants. I don't know how it's going to be because of COVID,
Oh,
obviously, next year. But it is usually open for international applicants as well. So if anybody wants to come and do litho with me, let me know.
awesome. Oh my gosh. No more no one's asked any other questions. I actually have a few more. We have about 5 minutes left, so hopefully someone
Okay.
can ask more questions. But I actually have a few more because I remember the way I found you, because we obviously didn't meet like as friends or in school or anything. I met you through my roommate in Hawaii, and I remember at the time she was like, "Oh, I found this artist on Instagram." I actually don't know how she found you. I should have.
Yeah.
But she was telling me how she found you because you were doing prints on a tortilla maker. And
Yeah.
I remember when I saw that, I was like, this person is a genius. Like, I feel so dumb for not even thinking about that as a possibility. So I just give you props and kudos for like being very resourceful for one, and then just branching out and just kind of not limiting yourself to like a certain medium. I think that's really really cool. um but yeah, my question was, I have two. So how did you think of printing on a tortilla maker? And then after that is about it's a studio question, but I want to hear the
Yeah.
tortilla one first.
Yeah. So I think I started doing the tortilla press when I was in Texas. I think it was after school. So again, like not having access to the studio anymore, I was like, oh, I need to make prints. I need to
Yeah.
find a way to make prints. And I mean, I did the wooden spoon hand printing,
Hmm.
but I was like looking at the stuff that I had, and
Yeah.
I think I had a tortilla maker, and I was like, well, I mean, this is literally a press. Like you just like press it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it makes yeah. So I tried it, and it worked. And I was really excited. So I did a bunch of little mini tortilla press prints, and then I started realizing that a bunch of other artists do actually do tortilla press prints. There's a few artists that were in Chicago that actually like made their own tortilla press, but they slightly modified it. So instead of like closing down like this,
Hmm.
like the device did like more even pressure.
Oh wow.
And so I thought that was really cool. And it's also like an interesting mixture of like what my culture offers. And like because printmaking is such a big deal in
Yeah.
Mexico, I thought it was a really fun thing to like mix those aspects of it. And then I learned that there is actual tortilla printing done here traditionally.
Hmm.
It's not done with the tortilla press, but there there are carvings made on wood that they're inked with natural pigments, and then they are pressed on tortillas, like actual tortillas. And I think I don't know a lot about this, but I think it's like a ceremonial event, and I can't remember what state in it is in. I'm gonna look more into it so I can tell you about it. But when I figured that out, I was like, ah, it's amazing. Everything is coming together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's so amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm learning again. I'm learning so much from you today. This is so cool. Um, I have, oh my gosh, I think we have like 2 more minutes. So,
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
um, my last question is, so the studio that you're at right now, are you there by yourself? Do you pay the rent and everything? For,
Yeah, yeah, I'm by myself, and it's actually was luck that led me to be in this space. I was previously I had part of the studio in my home and part of the studio in somebody else's house. Um, but then I had a little bit of a fallout with that person, and I was looking for a new space,
yeah.
and uh, and then all of a sudden this space is actually like walking distance from my parents' house.
Hmm.
And my mom was like, "Oh, there's like this place for rent nearby. Do you want to go check it out or whatever?" Because I was looking for a space at that time, and it was literally at the beginning of the pandemic when I found it. And
Wow.
the owner of the place, once I talked to him, he was really cool, and he was like, "You know what? I understand. It's a difficult time for everybody, so I'm gonna give you a discounted price on the space, and also." I didn't pay for the first month, so he let me move in and not pay for the first month as while I was setting everything up. So that was really amazing. And the rent being so affordable is what's allowed me to be here, like on my own.
Mhm.
which is really, really great to have like your own space that you could do whatever you want in it and like, yeah, just like unleash creativity here. Um, yeah, so I'm really, really lucky and I'm very, 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 very thankful that I had this opportunity to be in this space.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Maria, for sharing that. Because I was always a little bit, I was always curious about it. And it's really awesome that the owner was so chill about it. Um,
Yeah, he's been really great.
yeah. And so I think we're out of time. Um,
Okay.
but thank you so much for joining. And
Thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
yeah, thank you for everybody for watching. I'll post it on my story and then you can just repost it. And if anybody has any questions for Maria, just message her. I'm gonna just spam my story with like your feed.
Okay.
You're such an awesome artist, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, you're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Yeah, talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning
Thank
in.
you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.